பதிவு உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா மறக்காம லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. நன்றி, வணக்கம். வாழ்க வையகத்து.
You have learnt that all living cells have to be provided with nutrients, oxygen and other essential substances. Also, the waste or harmful substances produced have to be removed continuously for healthy functioning of tissues. It is therefore essential to have efficient mechanisms for the movement of these substances to the cells and from the cells. Different groups of animals have evolved different methods for this transport. Simple organisms like sponges and coelenterates circulate water from their surroundings through their body cavities to facilitate the cells to exchange these substances. More complex organisms use special fluids within their bodies to transport such materials. Blood is the most commonly used body fluid by most of the higher organisms, including humans, for this purpose. Another body fluid, lymph, also helps in the transport of certain substances. In this chapter, you will learn about the composition and properties of blood and lymph tissue fluid, and the mechanism of circulation of blood is also explained herein. 18.1 Blood. Blood is a special connective tissue consisting of a fluid matrix, plasma, and formed elements. Plasma. Plasma is a straw-colored, viscous fluid constituting nearly 55% of the blood. 92% of plasma is water and proteins contribute 68% of it. Fibrinogen, globulins and albumins are the major proteins. Fibrinogens are needed for clotting or coagulation of blood. Globulins primarily are involved in defense mechanisms of the body and the albumins help in osmotic balance. Plasma also contains small amounts of minerals like sodium ion, calcium ion, magnesium ion, Co3, chlorine ion, etc. Glucose, amino acids, lipids, etc. are also present in the plasma as they are always in transit in the body. Factors for coagulation or clotting of blood are also present in the plasma in an inactive form. Plasma without the clotting factors is called serum. Formed elements. Erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets are collectively called formed elements, figure 18.1, and they constitute nearly 45% of the blood. Erythrocytes or red blood cells, RBC, are the most abundant of all the cells in blood. A healthy adult man has, on an average, 5 millions to 5.5 millions of RBCs of blood. RBCs are formed in the red bone marrow in the adults. RBCs are devoid of nucleus in most of the mammals and are biconcave in shape. They have a red-colored, iron-containing complex protein called hemoglobin, hence the color and name of these cells. A healthy individual has 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin in every 100 milliliters of blood. These molecules play a significant role in transport of respiratory gases. RBCs have an average lifespan of 120 days, after which they are destroyed in the spleen, graveyard of RBCs. Leukocytes are also known as white blood cells, WBC, as they are colorless due to the lack of hemoglobin. They are nucleated and are relatively lesser in number, which averages 6,000 to 8,000 mm-3 of blood. Leukocytes are generally short-lived. We have two main categories of WBCs, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils are different types of granulocytes, while lymphocytes and monocytes are the agranulocytes. Neutrophils are the most abundant cells, 60-65% of the total WBCs, and basophils are the least, 0.51%, among them. Neutrophils and monocytes, 6-8%, are phagocytic cells which destroy foreign organisms entering the body. Basophils secrete histamine, serotonin, heparin, etc., and are involved in inflammatory reactions. Eosinophils, 2-3%, resist infections and are also associated with allergic reactions. Lymphocytes, 20-25%, are of two major types B and T forms. Both B and T lymphocytes are responsible for immune responses of the body. Platelets, also called thrombocytes, are cell fragments produced from megakaryocytes, special cells in the bone marrow. Blood normally contains 1,500,00 to 3,500,00 platelets cubic millimeter. Platelets can release a variety of substances, most of which are involved in the coagulation or clotting of blood. A reduction in their number can lead to clotting disorders, which will lead to excessive loss of blood from the body. Blood groups. As you know, blood of human beings differ in certain aspects, though it appears to be similar. Various types of grouping of blood has been done. Two such groupings, the ABO and RH, are widely used all over the world. ABO grouping. ABO grouping is based on the presence or absence of two surface antigens, chemicals that can induce immune response, on the RBCs, namely A and B. Similarly, the plasma of different individuals contain two natural antibodies, proteins produced in response to antigens. The distribution of antigens and antibodies in the four groups of blood, A, B, AB and O. You probably know that during blood transfusion, any blood cannot be used. The blood of a donor has to be carefully matched with the blood of a recipient before any blood transfusion to avoid severe problems of clumping, destruction of RBC. Group O blood can be donated to persons with any other blood group, and hence O group individuals are called universal donors. Persons with AB group can accept blood from persons with AB as well as the other groups of blood. Therefore, such persons are called universal recipients. RH grouping. Another antigen, the RH antigen similar to one present in rhesus monkeys, hence RH, is also observed on the surface of RBCs of majority, nearly 80%, of humans. Such individuals are called RH positive, and those in whom this antigen is absent are called RH negative. An RH person, if exposed to RH plus blood, will form specific antibodies against the RH antigens. Therefore, RH group should also be matched before transfusions. A special case of RH incompatibility, mismatching, has been observed between the RH blood of a pregnant mother with RH plus blood of the fetus. RH antigens of the fetus do not get exposed to the RH blood of the mother in the first pregnancy, as the two bloods are well separated by the placenta. However, during the delivery of the first child, there is a possibility of exposure of the maternal blood to small amounts of the RH plus blood from the fetus. In such cases, the mother starts preparing antibodies against RH antigen in her blood. In case of her subsequent pregnancies, the RH antibodies from the mother, RH negative, can leak into the blood of the fetus, RH positive, and destroy the fetal RBCs. This could be fatal to the fetus or could cause severe anemia and jaundice to the baby. This condition is called erythroblastosis fetalis. This can be avoided by administering anti-RH antibodies to the mother immediately after the delivery of the first child. Coagulation of blood. You know that when you cut your finger or hurt yourself, your wound does not continue to bleed for a long time. Usually the blood stops flowing after some time. Do you know why? Blood exhibits coagulation or clotting in response to an injury or trauma. This is a mechanism to prevent excessive loss of blood from the body. You would have observed a dark reddish-brown scum formed at the site of a cut or an injury over a period of time. It is a clot or coagulum formed mainly of a network of threads called fibrins, in which dead and damaged formed elements of blood are trapped. Fibrins are formed by the conversion of inactive fibrinogens in the plasma by the enzyme thrombin. Thrombins, in turn, are formed from another inactive substance present in the plasma called prothrombin. An enzyme complex, thrombokinase, is required for the above reaction. This complex is formed by a series of linked enzymic reactions, cascade process, involving a number of factors present in the plasma in an inactive state. An injury or a trauma stimulates the platelets in the blood to release certain factors which activate the mechanism of coagulation. Certain factors released by the tissues at the site of injury also can initiate coagulation. Calcium ions play a very important role in clotting. 18.2 Lymph, which is tissue fluid. As the blood passes through the capillaries in tissues, some water along with many small water-soluble substances move out into the spaces between the cells of tissues, leaving the larger proteins and most of the formed elements in the blood vessels. This fluid released out is called the interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. It has the same mineral distribution as that in plasma. Exchange of nutrients, gases, etc., between the blood and the cells always occur through this fluid. An elaborate network of vessels called the lymphatic system collects this fluid and drains it back to the major veins. The fluid present in the lymphatic system is called the lymph. Lymph is a colorless fluid containing specialized lymphocytes which are responsible for the immune responses of the body. Lymph is also an important carrier for nutrients, hormones, etc. Fats are absorbed through lymph in the lacteals present in the intestinal villi.